Looking for a little strange.
Welcome back, dear stranger. You're listening to Strange Bluegrass, and I am SB Pierce, your host for all things weird and wacky about Kentucky. I want to start today's episode off by apologizing for the long delay between episodes. That's not my intention for this year. I don't know about you guys, but 2022 has been really crazy. It's probably just me. It's probably my karma coming back. But we've had a lot going on here in the Pierce household. We had contractors in the house redoing flooring, which of course is not conducive to recording. We've not been able to get out and travel lately, but I'm hoping to remedy that starting immediately. And the footage I'm going to share with you today is from a few weeks ago. I've been hanging on to it. So I'm excited to do this again. So it's another new YouTube episode. For those of you just joining the show, I just started utilizing YouTube and offering some video for the show. I'm not always going to be able to do that because sometimes my topics are not exciting enough to have video. But so these are for more on location type of topics for Kentucky. Not much else has been going on. I've been working on my book. I'm on the last few chapters of the final round of edits. I've done probably 7 or 8 rounds of edits, and I'm at the very end, which means the next step is starting the formatting. We're also in the middle of building the sound studio to record the audio books. And at the same time, we're building the space to start our own screen printing to start making t-shirts for Strange Bluegrass and, Christmas gifts for people. And, everybody's going to get a t-shirt and an apron and a tote bag or whatever, how that goes, So I'm glad to be back, and hopefully going forward for the rest of the summer, I can get out there on the road and do more things. So before further ado, or without further ado, let's get started. So a few weeks ago, my husband and I took our kids down to Land Between the Lakes. And if you've never been, it is a national recreation area down in the southern part of Kentucky. And the recreation area actually spans from Kentucky down into Tennessee. And this place is so beautiful. It was just a couple of nights. We got a little cabin and we enjoyed a little bit of canoeing. We checked out the planetarium. There's an 1850s homestead. We just had a nice, relaxing time out in the woods. The very thing I'm allergic to, but I love it so much. I got to go anyway. I hope we get to go back again soon to do more exploration because this place is huge. So if you haven't been, please go. It's part of Kentucky, and I think you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of history there. I think my favorite thing, they have a wildlife loop that you can do. It's about 3.5 miles where they have bison. For those of you who know what that is, that's buffalo, and elk. And it was just breathtaking. And it's a nature preserve. They're all gated in so they can't go run amok. And it's just, native habitat, native grasses, prairie lands in Kentucky, which was a little unusual and kind of cool to see. So yes, please go check that out. So on our way down, we swung through Owensboro to pay tribute to and to visit Nikki Hayden's statue. And we kind of checked out the Riverwalk area there. And then when we were leaving Land Between the Lakes, we decided to go check out Paducah for just a minute because I've been wanting to get down there. I was like, ooh, we're kind of in the area. Let's go. They have a ton of topics I want to cover. And there's one thing I want to do right now. So while we were driving, kind of the back roads or the state routes to get to Paducah from where we were, we noticed there was a lot of traffic. It's a beautiful drive. And we discovered that we were on the Route 68 yard sale. And if you don't know what that is, so Route 68 is very, very long, miles and miles and miles. And once a year, they have a huge yard sale. Everybody who lives along 68 or knows somebody who lives along 68, they all set up and you can hop from yard sale to yard sale to yard sale. We did not participate in that. We were like, of course, we picked this weekend to be driving this road. But the Route 127 is coming up soon, and I think Route 60 is coming up again. So that's a great time to get like cool deals on whatever you need, maybe some back to school shopping for clothes and stuff. Yes, I am all about some thrifting for some new clothes too. So if you do go on any of these routes, please be careful. There are pedestrians, there are children shopping with their parents, and we don't want to see a tragedy. But back to my story. We were along 68 and I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't know the exact address. I just knew the name of it. And I was like, oh, we'll figure it out once we get to Paducah, because we were planning to get some lunch while we were there. And we happened to drive right past it. I was like, there it is. Let's turn around. So we turn around, and we go back and we park and we get out to stretch our legs. And we're just kind of looking around, getting ready to go. And we keep seeing this man, and he's like walking up, and he was checking to see if we were yard sailors that were just turning around or taking a break, or were we there to visit him. And where we went was the Apple Valley Hillbilly Garden and Toyland. Now, if you haven't heard about this guy, he is incredible. He's very, very smart, very funny guy, very creative. And I find him to be extremely talented. So let me give you the backstory, because I didn't get to start recording right away, because as soon as he figured out that we were not with the yard sale, he launched right in to providing a tour to us. And it was a phenomenal tour. He took us around his whole property and he talked for like 2 hours. So we got a really awesome insight to what his whole vision is. So let me tell you the background. And then I'm going to transition over to the video I did get to shoot. Now, thankfully, I was able to get a lot of video and get that all kind of squared away. But I missed the very beginning. So I need to fill you in on that. And this is information that you can actually get from their website. Now, just so you know, this place has been on the Associated Press. It's been in the Paducah, I think it's called the Paducah Sun, the newspaper there. There are people who love what he does. There have been lots of YouTubers and podcasts that have been out there. I did get to have a photograph taken with him, and it's pretty funny. I'll share that on the social media. But at the same time, there are some people in his community that do not like what he has. And that's unfortunate, because I've been in the arts for years and I see what he's doing, and I see that there is a point to what he's doing beyond just what he was trying to do. So without further ado, I'll come back to that in just a second. So let me go ahead and tell you this story. So back in 1928, I've got my notes here, guys, so I might have to look at that. So sorry if I'm not always looking at the camera. Back in 1928, a man named Oral Wallace bought a piece of land that had a 2-room house and an apple orchard on it. And he and his wife, I believe her name was Myrtle, they moved in and opened a produce stand where he would sell apple cider. Just a little while after purchasing, he built an underground still and began offering hard cider. So that was in the late 20s, early 30s. He eventually added another room to his house to rent out to travelers, so an early version of Airbnb. And then he built a small country store. And he did those two things when he found out that Route 68 was about to be paved. So he bought this before that was even a paved road. When he opened his country store, of course, it carried the various sundry of items that you would find in a small country store. But they also put in a small counter where they served chicken dinners, and he would perform or do haircuts. And if you go visit today, the razor strap he would use for his razors to sharpen them is still hanging there, as along with a few of his old razors. Crazy, beautiful store. I love it. In 1939, they added a single gas pump when Gulf Gas came through. And the family got a lot of flack because they served everybody. So you got to think about that 1939, and they would pump gas for everybody. So this is like Jim Crow era. And some people in the community didn't like that they were also pumping gas for people of color. And I think that is phenomenally awesome. And I love that. The store and gas station eventually closed in 1964 when Oral passed away. But his wife, Myrtle, she continued to run the produce stand until she passed away in 1988. Well, the family held on to the property, but I guess local developers or people from the city, they wanted to develop that land into like subdivisions and things like that, but the family did not want to do that. So in 2005, their grandson, Keith Holt, moved back to Paducah. He'd been out in California for about 20 years, and he was a SAG-AFTRA actor, stand-up comic, puppeteer. He did a little bit of everything. And he also, one of his favorite hobbies to do while he was out there was to collect toys and vintage relics from, old kind of cheesy museums, things like that. So when he returned to Paducah, he came with 2 truckloads of toys. And when I say truckloads, I don't mean pickup truck. I mean semi-tractor trailer truckloads, big. His initial goal was to restore the gas station or the country store and then open up a Toyland. When he got back and he found out what they were wanting to do, how they were wanting to develop the land, he had to find a way to keep the city from doing that. And so he became the Apple Valley Hillbilly Garden and Toyland. And he can tell his story so much better than I can. He has so many amazing details, and he talks about so many wonderful things. So I'm about to switch over to the video from that. We're inside the country store. So while he's talking, I'm trying to capture as much film as I can. And he's just a wealth of knowledge for that, local history and things of that nature. And I'm so excited I can share this with you. So Keith, if you watch this podcast or listen, thank you so, so much for your incredible tour and for taking the time to speak with us and entertain us while we were there. And I just want to say that I love all of your installations. Nothing beats a great pun. Nothing beats a good dad joke. If they're hysterically funny. And thank you for adding to the beautiful landscape of Kentucky. I truly do think that your place is phenomenal.
But she just said you complain about your dad's belt. Yeah, I used to get the slits and everything. And so one day I had an older gentleman, when I first moved back here, I had an older gentleman that lived down the street that was a cattle rancher at that point, or a cow, whatever you want to call it, rancher. He was an old guy, so he looked out there going, all that, but he had a cow thing down there. He used to be the principal for what is a grade school down there now, but it used to be everything school, so it's a 2-story brick building, and everything's grade school, high school, and he was the principal for that. So he came down and told me all kind of cool stories about that. But then also, I said something to him. I said, do you know what razor straps are? I know why it's here, because he used to come there and talk to my grandfather. And he goes, oh, that's right. And he had his flashback. He goes, he used to cut people's hair here. And he was the one who told me about the stove would go here and he said, put a milk stool here, but it wasn't your normal milk stool. He says it was like a milk stool, but it had arms on it, so he had the arms there, but it wasn't really a barber chair or anything. And then I go, oh, that's why I have 6 pairs of those, because I was wondering why I have 6 pairs of clippers. Because believe it or not, I do have a set of clippers. Mine are electric, but I only own one. I don't need 6.
Right.
And then I understood why when he mentioned that, and so I got a lot of that stuff out here. So I learned that. And then also in the old days, as you guys know, they pump the oil up in those ball jars that you see up there. So at one point of the game, as you can see, you get your oil for your food across the counter, get your oil for your car, and then get your haircut right here. And something tells me my grandfather might have used the same oil for all 3 things.
So this is Hugh, your puppet show.
Yeah. Yes. Now, well, these are two of my puppets. Two of the puppets left over. The one
Oh,
next to the other one over
oh.
there.
Those are your puppets.
Yeah, because she keeps eating chicken on us. Because when kids are here, they always keep adding the chicken to our mouth. Yeah, I did puppetry from '79 to roughly '85, and I did, like I said, I lived in Denver for a while. So I had a puppet theater set up by a place called Heritage Square. That's outside Golden, Colorado, where Courage Brewery is.
Yeah.
And I had that set up for about a year and a half. And if you look above you there's the photographs. That is the theater I had set up at Heritage Square. But while I was in Denver, I started doing acting. So then I didn't need the puppets anymore. So,
Yeah.
so puppets took the back seat. Right.
But they're wonderful. I'm so glad you had. Are these the only two that you have
I have a
left?
few more left, and then I still have the patterns because I was one of those people. I do not know how to, like everyone designs everything first and then builds it. I built them first and then tore them apart. They make the patterns side of it.
Right.
Because when you do puppet shows, and I was I guess pretty successful doing it. I toured a show, but it was like you trade with puppets when you're using them every day. So I always had to make other ones, and I got to a point where I hated puppetry because I hated the fact I had to keep building these things.
Right,
And then occasionally I have because Emsa had a zoo and they used to bring me into the zoo to do shows on the weekends occasionally, and I had my theater set up in the bird sanctuary area because they had an inside where they had the they kept the outside dark so the light kept the birds in.
Yeah.
Well, I was right next to that live thing, and I'd be sitting there doing the puppet show, and I had all these lights going on and going. I think, well, the birds will leave their exhibit and come sit on the puppet stage and be watching the birds. And I used to do dry ice effect, get the fog, and I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did a disco duck drop needle thing,
Nice.
and then I had a human that was up there, singing, and he gradually turned to a disco duck. Well, one day one of those birds flew out and undid my dry ice thing. So the dry ice was all falling on top of me, and one of my puppets got literally welded to my arm, so to speak.
Oh.
And I had to rip it off, and because I had everything on tape, so I had to keep up with the tapes on there.
Yeah.
And luckily I didn't get but that was a weird experience. So I was going home that day making a new puppet.
Right.
Because the one literally had, like how guys does this welded to
Yeah.
his arm, and then of course I immediately got it off, but all that, and then luckily I had something else to camouflage. I didn't miss a beat, so to speak.
Right.
Wow.
But I did that for from '79 to '85 because '85 was the last year I did the thing at Heritage Square, and then the Kentucky Derby. I saw you take it that. Well, that was a Western theme park. That was, if you happen to know where the Graftonville area is, on 641. There was a Western theme park up there.
Okay. Yeah.
But it closed in '79, so there's nothing even left as an urban, where you call it the urban, where you got
Like
where the YouTubers
urban.
do that stuff. There's
Yeah.
only one slab of concrete left up there,
Oh, right.
and maybe I call it the ditch. They had a canoe ride that you actually had. I don't consider a ride. You had to actually
Is
make the canoes.
Yeah.
now is this related in any way to that? We passed it on the way here, and it says it was something like that. Is that related to? It was kind of like old time family fun something. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
okay, it's not related to that at all.
Okay.
Okay, old time. I guess. Are we talking Kentucky Shores?
Maybe so. We were
Yeah,
coming from
maybe.
LBL, so yeah.
Okay, probably was Kentucky Shore, or you might as well have Forgotten Past.
Oh, Forgotten Past. There we
Forgotten
go.
Past,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I kind of liked the double meaning of Forgotten Past, old time or family fun. I was like, yeah, sometimes you kind of have to forget the past to have
Well,
fun
and
with family.
if you know anything about Forgotten Past in this area, it has been forgotten. No.
Yeah.
I don't mean it that way. It's forgotten. I don't mean that way. Everyone's struggling, but no one seems to remember it. You got the Kentucky Shores I was mentioning. It was on 641, and Forgotten Past actually I think Forgotten Past came out started the same year Kentucky Territory did, or a couple years after, because I do have double. I collect all that tourism stuff. So
Yeah.
I got ads in the paper where they were double billed, but Kentucky Shores. If you happen to go out 641 heading to, because you guys I think probably came out by Aurora. You came out through Aurora, right?
Yeah,
Aurora.
we did.
So 641, if you guys did pass coming here, there's a 641 where last time we saw a light.
Yeah.
Last time we saw a four-way stop. That was 641. That was 641. That was Draftonville, the way you were in.
Right.
And so 41 on the Purchase Parkway, where it's called now. They got a new name, but the Purchase Parkway.
Yeah.
That's that road before that was 641.
Okay.
So on 641, if you had went towards Kentucky Lakes on that road. About a mile down would have been where that was. Now there's a beer garden there, so if you guys are looking for beer, they do have a beer garden there. So we were dry until about 5 years ago.
Isn't that funny? I've seen that in a lot of places in Kentucky, because where I grew up was dry, and right before we moved back, they finally voted for at least the city portion to be wet. And
so Marshall County is totally wet now, which they were dry until, because I did not know dry counties still existed. You know, I lived in California, and I come back out here and go, what? I have to drive to Paducah to get a beer? You know, it's like,
right.
I used to call my friends back in LA, dude, you won't believe how far I have to drive to get a beer around here. It's like,
right.
and it's like, well, no wonder there's moonshiners still, you know.
Right.
And it's like, so I found that, and then we, not to speak bad about neighbors, she still doesn't like me, but we had one neighbor across the way there, when we had to, because we went through two votes where you know, they were trying to get it wet. And of course, it got voted dry for another 4 years. However long you have to wait.
Right.
And the next one came up. Well, the second one came up. She had us over there because she was one of our angry neighbors. But she always has us over get all the stuff out of her freezer. You know, like when the food starts to go bad, you know, feed to the animals. And one time, my son and I were over there, and he's usually like, "You sure that she's not trying to poison her animals?" but as we're getting the stuff out of her freezer for her, all of a sudden we're starting to look around like, holy crap, you know, we're looking around. She had piles and piles of aluminum cans. They all were Budweiser cans.
Oh.
So it wasn't like she was going out finding the cans, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're all Budweisers. And my son's kind of like, wow, okay. And then she saw us, I guess, looking kind of, we were probably bug-eyed. Wow, you know.
Yeah.
I just collect aluminum cans. And so you can guess what sign she had in front of her place.
Right.
But yes, she had piles and piles of all Budweiser cans.
Only collects the Budweiser.
Yeah. Exactly.
And she might have been Baptist too. So
yeah.
It's like, it was kind of like it, but yeah, we still have fun with her. She's our only neighbor. We only have about 2 original neighbors still here. We ran the rest of them all. No, but it's like, I guess we're so bad. I should word this differently, but. A couple of them passed away. They hated this place. No. We lost a few to old age. But the one across the street was one of our angry neighbors. After the court case, he basically, you know, like, okay, I tried my best.
Right.
You won. We're friends now. You know, we get along fine. The one lady that I talk about, she can be nice. Depends on what side of the bed she wakes up on. Some days she is a pain in the arse, and she'll be out there because, you know, as you can see, you cannot get a big Winnebago in here.
Right.
So people will either park down there on that side street or park at the church. The church don't give us problems. The church does allow people to park down there at church down there. And so occasionally, you know, there'll be someone trying to park a Winnebago, and I'll see her and her son that lives on the other house on behind her. They'll be out yelling at the person. And one time, someone just ignored it. They came on down there and go, "Boy, you got some great welcome committee down there." I go, "Yeah, they think they own the street down there." You know, they're parked on the street. That's belongs to the county, not
right,
them,
right.
But they're down there telling you can't park there and all that stuff. You know?
Right.
And then usually for the 4 miles, I don't think it looked like that many people set up down there. But the 4 miles, I had noticed in the past they would actually put not spikes, but they come out and nail basically spikes in the ground to keep people from parking on the street there, you know, to go to the yard sales.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, they weren't quite pointed spikes. They were just, you know, rebar. You know, like they rebar it, and it's like you didn't see it in time. You know, it's like.
Yeah, I didn't even think about this being the weekend for the big yard sale until we started driving. I started to notice yard sale sign. Then I had like one friend that's like probably nowhere near here, but somewhere along this route. And
Hey, if anyone else pull in, just we were having one turn around just for the yard sale. Yeah. Okay, you're up. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's my wife.
Oh, okay.
That's my wife.
Yeah. So basically, we were counting Dollar Generals and yard sales all the way here.
Well, that's the other thing I don't understand. You know, I can imagine how fast Dollar General's sprung up.
It's insane. We had like one the whole time I was growing up, and now this very tiny town I grew up in has 2, and I'm like, you guys didn't grow in population. I don't know why you need 2.
Yeah, that's what I say. And then I don't know. She did do sort for Dollar General, not the one down here. She worked for one in Reland, but yeah, she worked for it, and they're not. Well, you probably know they're not good to work for.
Yeah, there's like this whole TikTok thing about how awful they are to work for. I just came across that. I was like, oh.
No, they're pretty. I'm not gonna say anything. I guess all corporations that way, but
right.
Yeah, they don't stand up, and then lots of times, like you're saying, there's two in a small town. They don't need two in the small town because they're not doing enough business.
Right.
Well, sometimes there'll be only one person working in that whole thing.
Right.
And at nighttime, you know, you're talking about, you know, robbery. You know,
Robbery.
you know,
Well, and then
like,
you think about, so like I work in business during the day. I think of things like shortage. Like if you've only got one person working,
oh yeah, that's what I say.
you've got so much stuff walking out that door because that one person can't have eyeballs all around their head. That's
and
just
to
not
be honest
even.
with you, probably wouldn't say anything if they saw someone take something.
Right? They're probably like, I hate my job. I don't care. Take whatever you want.
Well, no, I was going to say, if you're by yourself, you're not going to really confront just in case
No.
you're back in heat or something. And
No.
It's like, I don't know, but you worked at one. It was like, it was okay, but it was kind of like they don't care about if you have a problem in your family. They don't care about that. They
Right.
don't care. And then they expect you, well, I guess that's with every business, you know, even though it's not your day off, if someone doesn't show up, they expect you to be there. And
Right.
if you don't get there, I don't know. She worked for them for a couple of years, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like it was like it was kind of like they're not a good company to work for. And the one the Discovery Network was out here. It's been a while since she worked for them, but about 7 years ago. Now, this is time flies. Just 7 years ago, the one Discovery Network is now trying to turn us into a reality show. So they shot a pilot, and it was like they were out here about 5 days shooting it.
Yeah.
And one of the scenarios is we don't even own a real ride-on lawnmower, and
Yeah.
and they had a ride-on lawnmower mysteriously showed up on our property, and they had her riding the ride-on lawnmower to work. Like she was heading to Dollar General on a ride-on lawnmower, and they, as you know, Discovery, especially when they're just shooting a pilot. Very low budget.
Right.
So basically, they had a pickup truck behind her, a pickup truck in front of her, and they had the cameras all mounted on the pickup trucks and the cameraman in there. And then they had a GoPro on the lawnmower, I think. And they had my wife just so in other words, pickup truck, lawnmower, pickup truck.
Yeah.
Highway still left open. Highway still fully functioning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wife going down, and the real semi is coming the other way,
Oh gosh.
and they be plowing their horn like, you idiot, get off the highway. I'm like, and she said every time that semi went by, her lawnmower literally would get picked up and set off to the edge.
Oh no.
And she was a nervous wreck by the time she got back.
Oh
to it.
gosh,
They
I
didn't go-
guess.
They didn't go that far down the highway, but it was enough to
Right.
So our neighbors thought we were weird. So you imagine after 5 days of them here filming, they really thought we were weird.
Right.
Because you imagine that whole lady looking at them, what the hell? It's just crazy down now. Except she did find out they were shooting something here because they also did you're going to bust me on my pot garden. I have a pot garden here, by the way.
Yeah.
Pot. This can take illegal, by the way, but I have a pot garden here. So the whole principle, they're going to come bust me on my pot garden. So they had to, none of the local cops or none of the local sheriff's deputies would portray themselves as so they had to get an actor in Paducah, and that's what it was. He was an actor in Paducah, and he was an ex-cop, so he still had a car with the flashing lights and everything on
Yeah.
it. So they hired him with his car to portray the cop here.
Oh,
so
that's great.
so one day I'm sitting there because they were shooting. I was sitting. They didn't me. I was sitting off the side watching it because it was kind of like taking me back to my Hollywood days. So the guy was driving his car kind of fast, and they told him to skid. So he comes in, skids. It's kind of like a little donut right here, does a little donut. And I was like, I think he's going to take out my store. And he flips in, and he jumps out and goes banging on the door. Of course, I knew that I'm not there to answer the door. They knew that, but they're cut there. And they didn't like the shot, so they said, okay, reset. And the woman at that time, she was on her front porch because she heard the sirens. So she's on the front porch looking, and you could see her getting all excited because
Yeah.
she's getting all excited. And then she had binoculars. That's part that freaked me out. She had binoculars on, watching it all. And then they say reset. Guess what? I turned the cop car around. They took the cop car up, pulled in her driveway, they turned around, and then I guess all that time she would all of a sudden notice there was a cameraman back of the cop car, and there was like some cameras on the side of the car, and then all of a sudden I swear she went, shucks, you know. And they came back to this. So I just found all that quite entertaining, but
That's hilarious.
But yeah, So much for that. But yeah, we have one. I'm not sure. I think we still have more churches than we do Dollar Generals.
Oh, okay. Probably so. We saw a lot of those.
You'll notice you have Baptist so and so left, Baptist
Right.
so and so right.
Right.
Where one time they got arguments, so they go, okay, we're going to go across the street and start another church.
Right.
So-
Exactly.
So we got a lot of churches here, and I think we
Right.
have more churches than we do Dollar Generals. I think, but Dollar Generals are starting
I
to
would
catch up.
bet.
Yep.
And so I don't know. Well, I know something else to bore you guys with. He looks like, I'll probably get myself slapped now, but I think he looks like he could have lived through the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think you're a little bit younger than that, maybe.
No,
Oh, you
no,
just
just
look
really
it.
good
Okay, just
makeup.
look- Okay. in that case, I just thought you looked a little bit younger than 70s. Okay. So you might remember that in 76, the bicentennial year, 7-Up did a series of 50 cans. Each can has a state on it. Of course, I always got the Kentucky on display here. But on the back, they had either blue or red 7-Ups. And when you stacked all 50 cans up, it made Uncle Sam want you.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was a beer can collector. I was in high school in the 70s, and beer can collecting was very popular, as you might remember, among the kids.
Right.
I guess it was our excuse why we had cans in our room for a friend. No,
Right.
no, but beer can collecting was popular in the 70s.
I remember cutting my feet on the pull tabs that people would pull off their
Oh, you do
cans
that,
and
yeah.
be in the creek or whatever. And you go play in the creek, and then you slash your toe open on
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, also, the one, I don't mean that way because I didn't see men doing it at the time, but the women, then you could make the jewelry out of those.
Oh,
tabs.
yeah.
I don't remember us boys sitting around doing that, but I remember them.
Yeah.
At least that.
Seems like I had some cousins or something that did that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that. Oh, yeah, and something else bored you guys with. She's getting really bored. She's wanting to leave. The Bananas, you guys know, is a clean, wholesome show. No one
Right.
can do anything wrong. Da 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 da.
Right.
Well, I read this on the internet. They had to stay afterwards to shoot a Viewmaster reel. 4 actors, all 4, including Pernell Roberts. They all had to stay afterwards to shoot this Viewmaster reel. They were torqued off. They want to go home. So in this one shot here, if it's still queued up, I'll make sure it's still queued up. All 4 actors are given the camera an upside down bird. So I don't know. Look closely, you'll see all 4 are given the camera upside
Oh,
down
that's
bird.
great. I'm going to see if I can. Where's my camera lens?
You might be able to because one YouTuber did actually. I saw that on one YouTuber.
There it is.
One YouTuber did include that.
You guys see that? Yep, I got it.
Yeah, it's not that spectacular. He's dying to see it over here. It's not quite that spectacular, but you got to remember it's the 70s. So that was a lot
That's a
bigger
big
deal
deal,
in the 70s.
yeah.
That's funny.
So obviously when I read about it on the internet, I was running out here because that is my actual Viewmaster
Yeah.
from my childhood.
Oh, neat.
I ran out here going to my view. Hey, I got it. It's like- and of course, they took it off the market once they discovered it. But
Right.
it doesn't make any rare because they actually, when I was reading about the Viewmasters, technically the one that replaced this is actually more rare because everyone kept this one and no one kept the other one.
Right,
And
right.
then I got lucky because there was a yard sale somewhere around here locally, and I happened to be at it, and they had a bunch of Viewmasters, and they were selling at what I call a great price, like $1 a pack.
Right, right.
So I bought a Bonanza one again, hoping I would get that one. Sure enough, I scored. I got that one too. So,
Great.
so
That's
why I ended up
awesome.
as one. If it does happen to walk off on me, I at least have my other one.
Right, right, right.
But it's like, I find it fascinating because that show was supposedly so wholesome and all that stuff. And then
Yeah.
something else that she probably has no life. Okay, she was wanting to leave. Okay, she's definitely bored. I was going to get ready to say, someone yesterday said it looked like soup cans. So I guess they did. I never thought about it that way. Because I go, oh wow, I used to drink out of soup cans. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do kind of look like that. But we used to drink Gatorade out of soup cans too. You might notice.
Oh, gosh.
Because I forgot about it. That was back. I guess if you lived in the 70s, that's back in your day and time too.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
a lot of these. Yeah.
Well, I forgot we drunk Gatorade cans. I'm so used to them being the plastic balls now. I
Right.
forgot
Right.
about it.
It's been a long
Because
time.
when I came
Yeah.
back and started digging up all my stuff, I collected soda cans, obviously, along with my beer cans.
Right.
So all the beer cans you see around the top are from that. And then speaking of Kentucky, you might have noticed. Oh, well, I should probably see from over there too. But over here, there was a company named Sterling that used to put out the Kentucky Derby winners every year. See that around above your head, says Kentucky Derby.
Oh, I see.
There's more to that series, but they used to put out that. Of course, Sterling's not even around anymore.
Right.
And then while you're over here, you might notice, where you're filming right there, the bicentennial year 76 once again. You'll notice the breweries put out bicentennial cans with a little scenario of the history on it. So
Yeah.
back then, you could learn about history while you drank your beer, and forget about history while you drank your beer.
Yes. That's awesome. I love that.
And then while you're kind of filming all that there, you might notice on the stove, that is the original stove, by the way, they cooked, I think I already mentioned that to you, where they cooked chicken dinners on. Someone came up one day and said, do you want a mummified chicken? And I said, sure. I thought it would be stand-up mummified chicken. Turns out to be that Kroger mummified chicken you might be seeing right there. It's in your shot right now. Kroger mummified chicken. But it fits them. My mom had to cook chicken dinners, so it fits right in. And then there is a local company. I know where you guys live too. You got people that make copper steels too. But
Yeah.
but there's a company here called Rocky Points. They need to bring me more business cards, but they're called Rocky Points. They give me, in case you guys need a 4,000 gallon still, they can make you one. That's the big
Okay.
thing they ever made. So in case you guys need 4,000 gallons worth of moonshine, they can supply you with one. But they give me that miniature one to represent their business. And so my bad puns, mine's of course sitting on a hot plate. you might notice my coil is coming out into a Yellowstone coffee cup. So I'm assuming I'm trying to make Old Faithful. and then you may notice my H toe is guarding my still. And, yeah, add a few letters with the H up.
I love it.
And then just in case you're wondering about the Bonnie and Clyde gun, I don't have any proof of it. My grandmother hated Bonnie and Clyde. And when I was like her age and younger, I'd be coming down here to visit my grandma. And anytime I tried to watch that Faye Dunaway and what's his name's movie of Bonnie and Clyde, she would curse at the screen, hated it because they were making them into legends.
Right.
Made them look like she's the most evil people she ever met. She didn't like
Yeah.
them. Supposedly they had out here two nights by her story.
Okay.
Now my grandmother was not one of those storytellers. My grandma was one of those if you had a grandma like I had a grandma, I'd come down because when I got older and come down to visit my grandma, my mom told me I had to stay with her 2 hours. I had to stay with her 2 hours. I come down here and visit her. She'd be like, it's nice to see you, all that stuff. She'd feed me. And then she'd vanish. So after 15 minutes, she had enough of me. She was out. So then I had to kill an hour 45 minutes before I could go back. So I could get
Right.
back home. But so she was not a storyteller, so I meant by that. And then when so she didn't like him, and I didn't think much of it. She just told me the story. And then when I came back here, I missed my mom. My mom did pass away before I got back here, but she had left me 2 scrapbooks. She left me a scrapbook on the history of the family, so to speak, the family tree, and then she left me another book kind of on the history of this place.
Right.
And then there was a paragraph she had wrote, and she said the shotgun you may find in the attic, and she gave me the location of it, was supposedly left by Clyde Barron. And she goes, however, I think it was more likely left by your great uncle Clyde Wallace.
Oh.
But she goes, I was only one at the time, so I have no idea. Like your grandma swore on it.
Right.
And so I went up and found it in the attic, and when I saw it, I thought it looked too new. I thought that's not one there. I thought it looked too new. So when I did research on the gun, that gun I think was starting to be made in 27 or 28. I forgot what exactly it was. It started to be made in 20, so it fits in the right time here. But as we all know, Bonnie and Clyde had good guns, and it fit it. They wanted that side. Like never reached my left behind. And I had never heard of Bonnie and Clyde coming through Kentucky. But when I started doing my research on Bonnie and Clyde, they went as far as you guys probably do know. They went as far as Minnesota and Michigan. They even went down to Florida on the run.
Right.
And then I started. Then I saw a local story WPSD did on the Paducah police station, and they had. I thought they had a museum there, but they had a glass case of some memorabilia, and they had a mugshot of one of Bonnie and Clyde's gang members that had been arrested in Paducah.
Okay.
Not Bonnie and Clyde, but one of the gang members. So I thought, well, that's kind of getting like it could possibly happen.
Right. Right.
And then I guess at the time you get a lot of Bonnie and Clyde fans, so I'd be here telling the story. And I guess they didn't go to Paducah police station because all of a sudden, on Facebook, I got on Messenger, I got Paducah police. I'm like, well, okay, what are they coming after me for? I haven't done anything in Paducah. One of my two were when I opened it up because I was counting. This is when Marshall County was counting me left and right. I opened it up and see what they're complaining about, what they didn't like, because I saw across the county line now. And it turns out they go, would you please stop sending people our way? We are not a museum. We are not a museum. And they did say, you're right, we had the mugshot of Bonnie and Clyde's gang member. And they said, basically what you saw in the WPS news story that night, that's all we have. It's a glass case.
Right.
We do not have a museum. So I guess people are leaving here, going down there to check it out.
Right.
And they
Right.
send them customer staff down there. So I'm saying that, but they did acknowledge that they had it and da. But please stop sending people our way.
That's great.
And so that's why you might notice I do know how to spell some. I do know how to spell some words. So left is up there for a purpose. Lift is up there for left,
Right.
Yeah. Just in case I am telling you to tell. So that's on purpose. And then after that new, I guess it was Discovery Network. After that new Discovery Network did their Bonnie and Clyde movie, it was called Bang Bang. So I can't remember
Right.
Bang Bang. I love that song because I was like, well, that song fits them quite well. Yeah.
Right.
Because I knew what's her name, Frank Sinatra's daughter doing that song originally, and
Right.
I'm like, I like that version. So I was there, Bang Bang, and then as you guys probably know if you're doing anything about Bonnie and Clyde, if you watch the old Faye Dunaway one, then you watch that new one that Discovery Network did. And by the way, when did Discovery Network start doing fictional stuff?
Right. It's kind of strange.
Or it might be history. It was history or Discovery, one of those that did that movie. And I found a lot of stuff wrong in their movie, and they got some stuff right in that one that it got wrong in the other movie.
Right.
And the other movie got some stuff right that was wrong in the other. So it's kind of, you combine those two movies together, you might get more.
I think they put that to creative interpretation.
I understand that, busting stuff wrong with both scenarios.
Oh no, I'm all about busting the errors because that's kind of what I do with my shows. Like
Okay.
I'm not like out trying to but I don't always take what I find on the internet at face value. Like
Well, that's
I go
moving, that's
into
totally right.
archives and I dig deep in libraries and I look for documents, and I've found some very interesting things that are floated all over the internet that people know all about, but then half of what they know is completely
Wrong.
inaccurate.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And also even here locally, legends. Cause I've been warned by several people to keep my mouth shut about certain things. But one. I mean, some of the stuff is like no big deal. There was a guy here back in the '60s that was known as Snake Man. I think Snake Man. I think is what he's known for, Snake Man. What it was, in his earlier age, he was a roustabout, and he traveled to carnivals, and he did the gorilla man, or what you want to say, half human, half ape,
Yeah.
sit there, back when it's so politically correct to do stuff like that. And he was like the ape boy, traveled that, and so he was making his money. However, he ran away from home at 16 or something like that, and he was making his money. However, and he came back, I guess. It's obviously depends when you talk to. I've heard a lot of stories about the guy.
Yeah.
He still ripped people off even then, but he also had the idea because there was a story some farmer saw snake tracks, and it was looked like a huge snake, so like a host snake. Because all this is in the paper you can find. I got all the articles.
Okay.
Not Xerox, but I do have them on my computer. So some farmer found it. So this guy thought, hey, I'll go to Florida and buy myself a snake. So he goes to Florida and buys himself an anaconda or what, I don't know, maybe it's my boa, from some circus sideshow. And they, of course, sell him a sick snake, so his snake dies pretty soon after he got back here. But he went out and he wouldn't let WPSD or the local, not only WPSD, he wouldn't let the local paper go with him. But he was going to go out and capture the snake, but no media. So he goes out and captures the snake, which means he shows up with the snake he bought. And he does go to the WCBL, the local radio station here, and I have a picture of them just playing. He's standing there with the snake all wrapped around, all curled up and everything. He's just playing the snake. I suppose that snake they captured. And then, but he wouldn't let no media go out there when he captured it. And so he had this whole thing, and then it died on within 2 months of having it. I think it was 2 months. And I learned from someone else, I won't state their name, but someone else who runs a business around here. They said, oh yeah, he used to have the thing set not far from your grandparents' house down there. I go, okay, so that probably was a snake. So, because they said he wasn't set too far before. He had a little tent up in someone's yard, and he goes, they go, we hated it because everyone was parking in our yards to go see the snake. and they go, at that time, the snake was already dead. The snake was already dead, but he had hooked up the jumper cables.
Oh,
So when
God.
people who walked through to look at it, he goes, "Sorry, some snake was jumping." And they said the snake was dead for a while.
Oh, my God.
So people were paying. I think it was only 10 cents, but paying
Yeah.
10 cents to 62. They're paying 10 cents to see a snake, and I thought it was a hoot. But when I came back to town, trying to find out more about it, trying to find more pictures, I was trying to find his setup location. I got a response from his daughter saying, "Take all that stuff down. We do not want him known as Snake Man and all this stuff." And she got belligerent on me, back and forth. And I said,
Yeah.
"Well, I just trying to find local history. I love that type of stuff." And she's like, "It did not exist. It did not
Yeah.
exist." And she was like, and then her mom, his wife still lives here. So I got it because so when I did my research and going through the old newspaper articles, he ran for, I forget what he ran for now. We ran for something in the county. So then the other party running against him, they paid kids to go out and write "Snake Mad" and girls those political signs. So I assume that's where he had it with it. And then so then one day I had an older woman and an older old woman and an older woman, well, probably my age, but an older woman my age, walking around and taking the whole tour. But I noticed they went through all my scrapbooks, and I have all these scrapbooks, and I don't mind you looking at them. I have scrapbooks here of all the roadside attractions I've gone to. I got a book on local history here. I got a book on stuff like that. And they're flipping through it, and they kept flipping through the books, and then we went out and walked and told them the bad puns. I have a snake pun out there, and she goes, "Well, at least he didn't call it something." I forgot what she said, and I kind of went, "Are you?" And I give the real guy's name. I go, "Are you related to?" And I looked him straight in the face, and the younger one goes, "Yeah, I'm the daughter you've been talking to on Facebook." And I thought, "Oh, okay, cool." As you can see, I don't have anything where public can read about your dad.
Yeah.
I have all the stuff. I do have the copies. I do have Xerox copies. I forgot about that. I do have Xerox copies. I used to have them in the scrapbook.
Yeah.
As far as I can say, it's part of the local history, part of the tourism history. You asked me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had pulled all that stuff out so nobody can see. I still have it all, but I have it pulled out. And then the mom was there, and that's when the mom said, "Suppose it causes her problems," and she.
Right.
So once I find out that she's passed away, then I'll probably bring everything back up. No, because the daughter lives in Florida. So.
Right.
But I just find it interesting because to me, it's like I love P.T. Barnum. I love circuses. I love that stuff. So to me, he was a great showman to get all these people to pay 10 cents to come look at a dead
Right.
snake.
Right.
To me, I don't get. I guess it's scamming people, but I overlook that type of scamming. Like,
Right. Well, people are also looking for a thrill.
Yeah.
So even if it was a scam, people were still entertained.
yeah, as I say, we're entertained, and that I'd like to know more about the guy. As I say, because he passed away the year I came back. He died in a car wreck. He died. I came back towards the end of the year. He died earlier, and I didn't find out about him till later because everyone kept saying, "Do you know about the Snake Man?" And I'm like, I don't think so. And then when I started research, I came across, and now I was on to find more pictures like I want to know what his setup looked like.
Right.
And I've not come across a picture of that yet, but I had the word out there, and then that woman kept coming in, and I think
Right.
for some people came in, I understand that some people would come in and slander him big time, like saying he was this and he was that, where he
Right.
was. And there's also another guy around here that was known as Monkey Man. Now, he was a guy because I assume he was a retired, like carnival guy that retired as his monkey, and he would be up kind of between the red light and here.
Yeah.
He lived. Well, I guess you already know about the hell. And he would walk around the small town up there and pull his red wagon. The monkey would be riding his red wagon.
Okay.
And-
Well,
Oh, wow.
and
is this the same man who petitioned to have his monkey buried with him?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he petitioned. I guess he did, but but the monkey was supposed to be buried with him. They supposed to killed his monkey to go.
Yeah.
to
I covered
that's
him
right.
in my
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Monkey Man,
Yeah.
I think, and he could have been from Ohio. I forgot where. Cause I did some research
Right.
on him too,
Right.
and I came across that. Now the guy that we call the Snake Man, he was the one that supposedly paid for his burial and everything. So it shows how nice that guy was in the big
Right.
picture. But he supposedly paid for his burial and then took care of the guy because the house still. Well, you probably know that. If you get there with JDD, it'll be a lot better. I'm telling you all these stories around.
Right.
So he did not know about the Snake Man. He learned about the Snake Man from me, but
Okay.
the Monkey Man he knows about it. And the Monkey Man's house. As long as it hasn't been torn down recently, the Monkey Man's house still stands. It's still standing back here.
Oh,
It's
okay.
abandoned. It's abandoned.
Yeah.
But you can still go to this monkey. And then, of course, suppose it's haunted now.
Right.
And
Right.
then, of course, the bad stories about the Monkey Man, which I don't think there's anything proof to that. Is, of course, if now you'll hear rumors that he was a child molester and all that stuff, which I don't think there's anything proof to
Yeah.
that. It's just people being...
And see, that was the thing. I could not find out that when I was digging through like newspapers and stuff, I couldn't find out what did they say about burying the monkey with him. I never could find like the resolution to that. So he
They buried
did.
him with, I'm pretty sure, because I think I have an article, I'm pretty sure they said the monkey was buried with him. But I think they shot the monkey, because the monkey, I'm trying to remember if that's one of the articles I read or if that's just someone telling me. Sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because you get people telling you the tales, and I can't remember if it's the ones I read in the paper or not. But I think the monkey was kind of defensive, so when we went in, the monkey was kind of defensive. I think a sheriff deputy shot him, and then he was buried with the...
Okay.
And then it's not quite as sad as because I love all that stuff. So when I lived in LA, near to where Disneyland is, there used to be a wildlife park near there where it kind of went under when Disney Holt went up. But there was a
Right.
wildlife thing, and it had a chimpanzee. That chimpanzee was like the main part, and the chimpanzee, because as you know, the monkeys get mean when they're old.
Yeah.
As you know, when they rip people's faces off.
Right.
So his chimpanzee was starting to get old and mean. But his chimpanzee was trained, so this guy actually had the chimpanzee, and this is written by, I got a book over here that talks about that. The chimpanzee was trained, so the guy had his chimpanzee go out and dig his own grave. Chimpanzee dug his grave.
Oh.
And then he had his chimpanzee, go like stand, and they gave the chimpanzee a banana or something. And while the monkey's sitting there eating his banana, the guy shot him in the back of the head.
Oh.
And then they covered them up. So, and I'm thinking, wow, you couldn't do that nowadays. Because
Right.
we're talking, 50, see on the like somewhere between 50 and 60 when that
Yeah.
happened. But I was reading that story, going, how heartbroken. But I know how mean those monkeys can get. So
Right.
But to think you had your monkey to dig his own grave,
That's crazy.
and then you give him a banana. He's out there eating his banana, and then the whole.
Oh gosh.
I'm like, wow, people don't want to go for that nowadays.
No.
Well, see, I travel circuses, so I have a little different issue about the animal activists because I used to get in with Cassandra Peterson all the time because Cassandra Peterson is a big time animal activist. So she loved the Ringling Brother and Barn Belly Circus. so I used to have fun with her occasionally. More fun I should have had for us. Trying to antagonize her. Cassandra Peterson is nice. Oh yeah, here I'll get you guys.
Oh yeah.
She's getting bored. She's probably running out. I don't know if she's so filming. I think she's just there pretending. No, I said lie. She's pretending she's filming.
Oh no, yeah, the little one. Grown ups.
I'll walk and talk fast. I got a lot more stories I can tell in there. I probably left out half the history in there, but I did forget that. The stuff you saw that's having rid of that is my daughter's octopus, by the way.
Oh.
Because after,
wow, that's cool.
and if you guys want to step back here real quick, and I promise I'll be right back out here because I know she's getting bored. Right back in here. These are my other kids. So these other things you already looked at are my kids' art projects.
Yeah, I was looking at those.
They have bad puns too. So you have the shoo-shoo train.
Okay.
Toasted turtle. Both the shoo-shoo and the toasted turtle are my son's projects. My daughter's penguin complete with her palm tree. Back corner is Web is a Spider, which was a tribute to her brother that passed away unfortunately, but he was a Spider-Man nerd, so that's what that's about. Coming back this way with my son's rat catcher. You might. Then next to that was my daughter's Hey from Milana, but she called it fried chicken because you might notice it's standing on a frying pan.
Yeah.
And then the dog on top of the train, that's my daughter's collie dog, because obviously has telephone ears. And then my son's Minecraft sheep, no pun there, but those are, and I'll put it this way, after I was here 6 years, all of a sudden the county decided to have a junk art competition for the kids at school. And then when my one daughter, I don't have her project here, hers got ruined because I left out Mother Nature. But my middle-aged daughter, she comes home one day all excited going, Dad, they're doing a junk art competition at school. I'm going to take part in it. And then of course I looked at her and go, wonder where I got that idea from. She's like, Dad, everything ain't about you. and then I say, yeah, we'll go get you. So we went to art supplies, and she's putting her stuff together. And then I said, you do know you're not going to win. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, well, because who you belong to, you're not going to win.
Right. Yeah.
and then she won second place in her project. She did a duck. See, now I'm pronouncing the word wrong, but a duck.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was about all kind of junk, but then it had a lot of duct tape on it, and it was kind of like a disco duck, kind of like disco. But you saw the pun was the duck aspect.
Right.
Duck. Oh yeah, you had duck when you came in here, by the way.
Oh.
And then I see someone. Okay. And then you might notice we did buy a new iPhone. Oh yeah, I didn't get that out of the way. The local county, by the way, still does not consider me an artist. I get left out Hearts Band Month because you might know the ones that do run the Children's Art Guild and all that.
Yeah.
They're like in their 80s. You know, I'm 60, so I can't.
Yeah.
They're like in their 80s. So they always leave me out Arts and Humanity Month. I never get featured in anything on Arts and Humanity Month of October. I get left out. I learned to complain because it does give me free PR. So a couple years ago, a DJ from Evansville, he did not know me. In fact, he didn't know I was from Evansville until we were talking on the phone. But he calls me up from Evansville and he goes, I saw you on the internet complaining about your county not promoting it, all that stuff. And he goes, what's your problem? We know who you are here. We read the articles. We know who you are. and I can't go like complain. Gives me free PR. He goes, well, congratulations. I'm a DJ and I'm on the air right now. If I get your permission, I'm putting you on the air. So yeah, let's go for it. So who am I here talking about? Then 2 weeks later, unannounced to me, he shows up a photographer from the Evansville paper. It turns out even the Paducah paper is owned by the same people on the Evansville paper. But they show up with a local photographer from Evansville and they present me with the Udder Award.
Oh.
And you might notice that other award did taste a lot better than any, or excuse me, that other award did taste a lot better than any other award when it tasted, because it did come with whiskey.
Yeah.
And then real quick, this here is movie reels from the Calvert City Drive-In movie theater. Those are actual reels. They donated those to me. So that's why I have there, because you guys seem to be into the local history and all that stuff too. So there's a Drive-In movie theater, but unfortunately, there was a death in the family last year. It has not opened this year yet, so hopefully it will reopen. I've talked to the owners to find out what's going on, and there's a possibility you might have to sell it to get all the stuff. Now, what's really I found amazing when I came back here. Well, first of all, there was a drive-in movie theater still operating,
right?
Because one's all in LA. As it closes, as I was out there, and as I talked to the owner, it was still in the family. The people that started in 1955. The wife was still alive, and she died last year. I think she was 108.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And I guess they never did it because the son was one running it now. So I
Right.
don't know, but unfortunately, it's not open yet. So I don't know.
Yeah.
She just want to go, but I thought I'd show you that stuff. Real quick.
Yeah, that's really
Us old
cool.
people, she's not interested in what we gotta say.
But that's what I was going to say.
Strange Bluegrass is a Low Light Publishing LLC production. Copyright 2022. All rights are reserved.